How you guys doing?
You're a chef now?
You know, I've been cooking, man. These restaurants getting expensive. Yeah.
Specialty.
I don't know, man. I just eat to live, to be honest.
How do you look back at your rookie year, Kayvon, individually?
I feel like it was pretty good. I feel like my rookie year, you know, I left a lot of space to grow. It got better as time went on. Continuously put the work in. So, yeah, I'm excited for the second year now. Yeah.
What are some of the things you're looking to get better at as far as your technique is concerned as a pass rusher?
Getting sacks, finishing. You know, there's a lot of times where I had good pass rushes, but I didn't finish. You know, you start to realize like that other guy on the side of the line, he pays a lot of money, right? So they're not gonna let him get touched. So just continuing to sharpen the end of my rush, that third phase, and making sure I start to, you know, finish.
Are you the kind of guy that you look at almost like virtually every snap last year? Did you sit down at one point and watch and watch and watch?
I did. I watched most of it. I didn't watch the good plays. The good plays are kind of dead and gone. Now I was trying to figure out how I can eliminate as many bad plays as possible. And I don't think there were any bad plays, but, you know, even, like I said, the rushes that I didn't finish, trying to figure out what I could do to finish them.
Did you said he sent you into the offseason, you know, saying that he thought you needed to get stronger, maybe in your arms and your legs. I'm curious how you addressed that.
I think it's, you know, it's funny. So my lower body, it'll never look bigger, but I'm as strong as anybody else when it comes to squatting, when it comes to lifting, when it comes to things like that. But what I started to learn was more of the application of my strengths, right? We're starting to figure out, you know, how to use my leverage and use the things that I have to my advantage.
Is there one or two plays from last year, talking about finishing, that you didn't finish that really stuck with you?
I mean, yeah, the first game, I think we played Washington. You know, it was a second guess, kind of a step that threw me off even though I was unblocked. There was a couple snaps in the Eagles game, the first game we played, where I could have had an impact if I, you know, finished the top of my rush. And I know it was one even in the Texans when I was going against Larry Tunzel. He's a guy who really long, but I let him, at the end of my rush, I let him kind of get his hands on me where, you know, I should have been able to get around him.
What does it say to you and your room, really, that they made a lot of upgrades, they brought in a lot of players in different positions.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of rolling it back, running it back with you guys there at edge rusher. In other words, they didn't bring somebody else in. It's kind of the same group that it was last year.
Yeah.
What does that say to you? That in terms of their confidence or what they see?
We got a great GM. I mean, since I've been here, he's been, you know, I told myself I want to be something like a GM one day, so I started to look at, you know, the team's needs and, you know, whatever the case may be. But I feel like he's brought in the right pieces for us to continue to grow on the offensive side, on the defensive side. And, you know, a lot of guys that he did bring in and that are here now are primed. And they're some great players. So I'm excited to, you know, really get out there and, you know, start training camp.
They didn't bring in any edge rushers, though.
Yeah.
Right. So what do you think that says about your group?
I don't know how much more money they were going to spend on edge rushers. Yeah. But, yeah, I'm excited.
You just really piqued my interest with it. You want to be you see yourself working in the front office?
Not really. I kind of just want to be an analyst like you guys and kind of see, you know, what the next moves are for teams. And for me, even being on a team, you know, trying to figure out what components does the team need to succeed. So just kind of looking at it from a 360 point of view.
Do you dig into analytics at all in terms of how it can help you as a player?
I mean, we just brought in a corner, and I know that'll help. So I'm excited to, you know, see some more lockdown coverage. I'm excited to, you know, be able to, you know, make things happen.
And along those lines, since you like to do this type of stuff, what do you think of all the new additions to the defensive side of the ball?
They're amazing. Now we have depth. I'm excited. You know, a lot of guys are here to work. There are no egos. There are no, there's nobody that doesn't want to get better, right? So if you look out there, it looks like practice is still going on because there are a lot of guys still, you know, training with each other and helping each other out, and that's kind of the culture we're building.
What about the offensive side of the ball? I mean, you got some guys that can really challenge you guys.
I mean, yeah, you know, even today, you know, they made some plays, and it made me excited seeing them make plays and seeing them kind of gel together and continue to grow that chemistry.
Other than the snaps you said you studied, things you can do better, what do you think you learned most about what this is all about, what the NFL life is all about that you couldn't have known before this?
That, yeah, dinner gets expensive. When you go a year going out to dinner every week, you start to realize, like, man, I'm going to start eating at home, going to the grocery store.
The Giants did some video the other day where you guys walking off the field where you had to, like, say something nice about the guy you were, and I noticed you were walking off with Evan, and you guys always be linked as same draft class, top 10 picks. You had success. He kind of had ups and downs last year as a rookie. What have you seen from him in terms of maybe where he's grown and maybe you going against him, what he showed you as a rookie versus what he showed everybody else?
Well, you know, the thing about playing defense and offense is that, if we lose, they're not just going to point at me, but if we lose, they're going to point at the O-line. So for him, I feel like he's been able to process it more mentally. I feel like, coming into it, he starts to get an understanding, and me too, just figuring out that you have to play to your strengths. A lot of guys come to the NFL and they want to be like somebody else or want to take every tool that you can get, but it's like at the end of the day, you are who you are. And once you start to understand, what type of player you are and how you can grow with the assets you already have, you become a great player. So I think he's done a great job, one, blocking out the noise and continue to stay on his grind, and then continue to ask those questions. Be hungry, be curious.
Kayvon, when you look at last year in the spring versus this year, and how maybe last year was probably a whirlwind, my word, not yours, but how locked in, or how more locked in do you feel on your game this year as opposed to last year, and how much is that going to help you kind of move forward?
Yeah, when you talked about being locked in, I think it's a different mentality, right? When you haven't played against NFL caliber guys, you don't really know, right, how big you are, how strong you need to be, how fast you need to be. But once you kind of get that down and you start to really learn the ins and outs of the game, which is kind of what I started to do at the end of the season last year and going into this year, I think, it becomes a lot easier. Now I can really focus on the offense and not so much focus on myself, but figure out, the different tips and tricks I can get going into training camp.
You talked about you want to finish better this year in terms of sacks. Do you put a number on that at all?
No, because I had a number on it last year, and I figured out that, the season is so long that you have to do it by game. So if I can make impactful plays like I was able to do and continue to win, I mean, no one will ever remember, right? So as long as we win and as long as I continue to play well and play for my teammates, I think I'll be good.
Last one, that shift of maybe thinking not about a number of sacks, but kind of about more the season as a whole. How did you process that, or when did that start to change?
When you go 4 sacks, what was it, 4 or 5 games with no sacks? I mean, you start to realize well, number. I mean, forget that number. You start to think, forget the number, and what can I do to just make a play? So after come Baltimore game, it was like, I gotta make a play. I don't really have time to think about the goals I had. I gotta go for something now.